great week wherever you are and whatever day it is for you. We're coming to you on a Friday, so bringing that good Friday energy to you. And I just touched down from a due diligence trip out in Indiana, Indianapolis, and it was 5 degrees out there. So all you guys in the Midwest, I feel for you. That is cold weather, and you guys are stronger than I am. This is going to be a good episode, though. We got Charlie Panay with us on the show. Charlie is over there. He's across the pond. He's over there in London. But he's also an investor in real estate, and so he's here to talk shop. So Charlie, thanks for hopping on.
No, thanks for having me. I think it's cold here as well then for you, Gabe. It's probably Baltic for you.
But think about Seattle. Everybody thinks about Seattle as being like a cold place, but it's actually not that cold. It's very temperate. It just rains a lot, and that's why it gets that reputation. But when it gets anywhere below like 40 degrees, I'm just like, I can't handle this. This is too cold.
Yeah, you won't want to come here right now then.
Right on, man. Well, hey, before we hopped on, I told you we like to start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and just tell us how you got here?
Yeah, okay. I'll give you the fast-ish version. I was probably a bit of a weird child, and I established at 7 I wanted to be financially free. Don't really know why. And then around 11 years old, I established that would be through property and real estate. Like I said, I can't really answer why my brain worked in that way at that point. So I genuinely started researching anything to do with real estate, how to learn, how to do things. I had certain family members that dabbled, so I made sure I was around them a lot. And I knew I needed to make money to buy real estate back then. To me, I didn't have that idea of using other people's money. So I got a pretty good job at 16, made a good amount of money, and I bought my first property on the day of my 18th birthday. So I agreed to purchase it prior to 18, and it completed on my 18th birthday. And to be honest, I was pretty aggressive, for the first few years in terms of acquisitions and opportunities, and then I started to learn as I went on. So I sort of learned on the job, which probably most people listening do.
Nice, man. So you started at an early age, but can you remember, was there any, were you watching, I mean, they didn't have HGTV back then, I'm sure. So did you read a book?
Really? No.
Maybe a bedtime story?
I basically, one of my uncle was quite big in the property world in terms of I say quite big, I don't know how big, but to me, he was done a lot. In your memory, And I just used to ask to be around him a lot. So I could see what he was doing, learning about money. I think the main bit I was trying to learn about is the money side. How do you save? How am I actually going to get into a position to save enough money to buy a property? That was really all I was focusing on learning at that point, is that side of it, and a little bit how tenancies work, but without getting anyone in trouble. Back in those days of renting, it was very unofficial, and if you wanted a tenant out, you go and remove a tenant and stuff like that. So it was very different, but it was genuinely just trying to learn how to make money. Really, how do I get enough money to buy a property? And my theory about learning about property is, once I own property, I'll figure it out. And that was really my learning. It's a bit backwards in hindsight, but at the time it made sense.
Well, and it also goes to show just how important the people around you are. And we've talked about this so much on this podcast, about the importance of being around people who are, not 100 million steps in front of you, not Jeff Bezos, but people that are 1 to 2 steps ahead of you. So you can see and you can connect in your mind the steps, the actions that are required to get to that next level. And I mean, your uncle, just being surrounding by him, who knows how many properties he had, how many, things he was renting, but he could have had two properties that he was renting out, and it could have been,
he could have 100 or two. I was quite lucky, to be honest. I was lucky with you, because I think most people don't figure that out sometimes till their 50s. I think I was just really lucky that at a young age I established, well, my uncle's really good at money. My mum and dad have got a phenomenal work ethic and make good money. I'm not saying they're as good with the money as he was, but they had a phenomenal work ethic. And I just sort of, as a kid, noticed if I want to walk down the road fast, I need to be around people that are going to walk down the road fast.
Yeah.
Most people don't figure that out as children. Most people don't figure out till they're 40 something, or 50 something. I think I was quite lucky, to be honest. I just sort of figured it out. And even in my friendship groups, I was always a little bit like, made sure I sort of aligned myself to people that had the same values. I'm not on about business values because we're bloody kids, but just the same values. So I was fortunate in hindsight. At the time, I didn't know I was lucky, but in hindsight, I was lucky that I knew that.
Very cool. So 18, you got your first property. At what point did you start to scale? I'm assuming this first one was a single family rental, but did you buy it as a?
Yeah, it was my worst investment I've made, but I still own it to date. It was just a run of the mill, 1 bedroom apartment.
How much did you buy it for, by the way?
I think it was about £85,000. So
okay.
Back then, I think that it was double. The pound was good compared to the dollar. I'm not today; it's a bit different. So yeah, £85,000. There's no real logic. Like I said, it was like, right, I've got enough money, I'm buying something. And then I scaled quite quickly, but I was quite capital heavy. Like I was using my own money, so it wasn't as fast as if I knew what I knew now. It would look very different. But yeah, very fast. I mean, by the age of 21, I was probably financially free. To be fair, I didn't realize it at the time because all I did was work and wanted to, I wasn't money. I might sound contradictory in myself here, but I wasn't really money driven. I was freedom driven, but I love doing what I love. So for me, when I'm doing something I enjoy, it doesn't feel like work. And then I sort of had a family situation when I was about 21 that I decided, hey, I just want to get away from the world for a while. And that's when I realized, oh, I actually can go and do what I want. So it wasn't until that family situation happened, I went and lived in Madagascar for a while and just disappeared off the face of the earth, that I realized, oh, wait a minute, I'd done something pretty special at quite a young age, to be fair.
Yeah,
so I was quite aggressive at that point.
It is crazy how quickly financial freedom can actually creep up on you. People think that, I'm going to invest in real estate and 10 years down the line, I'm going to have enough that I need to live my life. But that, I mean, it can literally happen depending on your financial situation and how much you need. But for a lot of people, it can literally happen with one property. Not one single family, but if you get into a commercial property, you can get to that point with literally one property. So it's, it's 3 months away. You could close on that property in 3 months, which a lot of people just don't understand. And that's why I love real estate. Is it really can change your life very quickly.
It can definitely change your life. I think the problem we've got probably post-COVID more than ever is obviously all this Instagram nonsense where people sell the dream and make it look all flashy. The reality of property is I say it's boring. I love it. I call it a sexy asset. Like for me, I live and breathe it, but it isn't guaranteed to be overnight, and it is hard work, and it can be boring at times because you've got to do the right things all the time. But it is. I'm biased, obviously, and I'm sure you are. It's the best asset you can buy. So it's about, and I think that's why a lot of property people like me didn't realise the position I was in until something made me realise, because you sort of feel poor all the time. Even now, I tell people I've got no money. You do kind of just feel poor. And it sounds really bad, so I don't want to alienate myself to people listening, but you just do. Because
there's always bigger things to buy.
Yeah, investors don't really ever have money. I know it sounds weird, but when we make some money, it goes into something else. So you're always sort of just back to start every single time. If I make 30 grand tomorrow, it's like, right, where can that go? It's sort of just always disappearing. So yeah, it's not until you take a step back and realize, okay, I was never money driven, it was freedom driven. And at 21, I realized that. So it was like, I've got to that freedom point.
Yeah, this just kind of popped in my head, kind of a side note here, but I'm curious, investing in England and Britain, do you guys have, what is a lot of people are motivated to invest in real estate in the United States because there are a lot of tax advantages. In Britain, do you guys, can you guys do a 1031? Do you guys have capital gains? Like, what does the situation look like on the tax side?
So there used to be tax advantages. The government is, to be fair, hammering not just in the real estate world, in any environment in the UK at the moment. The last few years, it's been pretty difficult.
Okay, interesting. Do you guys have capital gains tax? So when you sell a property, do they? Oh, looks like Charlie's feed just froze. So we're gonna hang out here. This happens sometimes, especially across the pond. You're getting a signal from London into the sky, into a satellite up there, and then down here to the U.S. So it's traveling a bit, and it looks like it got lost in space, maybe. So we're gonna hang out for 1 second and wait for him to pop on here. I'll just keep talking until until he pops back on. Maybe I'll tell you guys about my due diligence trip. So yeah, I flew out to Indianapolis. I flew out just on Tuesday, so a couple days ago. He did drop. That's okay. He'll probably pop back in here. So yeah, I flew out to Indianapolis a couple days ago. Did a 2-day due diligence trip. Went out to a commercial property out there. It was absolutely freezing. So you guys Midwesterners, like I was saying, you guys got the chops a lot more than up here in Seattle we do. But the property was really good. It was a retail center, and we have it for a price that I think will make sense. It's the first time that I've dealt with triple net leases, and so I met a commercial broker out there to kind of walk the property with me and tell me what he thought the highest and best use was, or at least the tenant that he would expect to rent the property from us. And then what kind of improvements we need to make prior to getting that lease. So, the triple net retail, this is a whole new world for me. And as I understand it, a lot of tenants, when they go out and they rent a retail property, they are going to do a lot of the improvements themselves. And so what you need to do when you buy the property, when you as an investor buy the property, is white box it, which means um, you basically gut it and you just get it down to the walls, paint it white, and you present it to potential tenants as a blank canvas that they can walk in and they can see their own vision on what they need for the property. And so I met a couple contractors out there that kind of walked me through what they saw and with the broker there right by me, who could kind of help me understand what the potential of the property was. So yeah, it was a really good trip, and it looks like we got Charlie coming back. He's trying to come back. His his connection here is coming in and out. But it was a good trip, and I'm glad I'm back here in Seattle. Just being away from my family, even for a day, is hard. So um, it's good that he's back. And it looks like Charlie, do we got you there? I see your video, but I do not hear your sound, which is a problem. As a podcast, you do need sound, so that is one of the requirements of podcasts. That's for sure. All right, we're gonna wait. He's still trying to get back on, so I'm just gonna keep talking. Yeah, keep talking down my line of the retail. So yeah, that is one property. So I'm in a 1031 right now. I'm selling a couple smaller self storage facilities that I bought, and we have an amount that we're rolling into other properties, and this is one property that we're going to be buying. But been looking at other stuff out there in the market. We're really trying to hammer down on Texas, Indiana, Alabama. Kind of down there in the south. What do you call that? Southwest, the Great South, something like that. So we have that one property I've identified, and then there's a couple RV parks that I'm looking at right now. Haven't signed anything. The only one I've signed is the retail, but looking at some other RV mobile home parks. Haven't found a self storage yet. Been looking, but haven't found anything. It seems like for right now, cap rates are pretty low for self storage that I'm seeing out there, at least lower than I am comfortable with. And if you do find higher cap rates, they're in areas that are not they kind of don't fit my strategy. For self storage specifically, I am much more picky about where it's located than I am with mobile home parks. Mobile home parks, I'm okay with it being a little bit rural. I'm okay with it. I mean, I love it when it's central. But for self storage, I just have no tolerance for it being located in anywhere that you would consider dangerous or high property crime or anything like that. I've dealt with that in the past for self storage. It has a propensity, if it's in a bad area, to be broken into, and then you have to deal with a lot of repairs, even insurance claims. It's not a pretty picture, and so for self storage, I am very picky about where I invest in, which means for mobile home RV, I can find more deals because I'm okay with looking at a greater area for those. But yeah, for mobile home RV, I've been looking at a couple. Hopefully we can find a deal here soon. If there are any brokers out there who have a deal, mobile home RV self-storage, that you want to send my way, definitely send it over. And if any of you guys out there want to learn how to invest in mobile home RV self-storage or anything like that, we do have one-on-one coaching at the Real Estate Investing Club. You can just join the community. It's in the signature or anything like that. All right, third time's a charm. Here we go. Looks like Charlie has rejoined us. It's still a little bit choppy. We might have to. Oh, and he dropped again. You know what, guys? This might be a failed experiment. We might have to reschedule this podcast or something when Charlie's in a better area. But yeah, that is what else can we talk about today? We went out there. Yeah, I saw that property, gonna buy that one. I'll talk about my the process that I'm trying to stand up for my own acquisitions, for finding off-market deals. Off-market properties, there are a ton of good deals out there through brokers, but I'm still a fan of off market. I just love talking direct to seller, getting those deals penned. You just find better deals that way, and I want to really improve the processes that I have. Um, I have been using, I've really just been cold calling, using VAs to cold call, and then and that's been the primary way that I've gotten deals off market. I also have I've used, direct mail, that kind of stuff, but mostly cold call, direct mail. Those are the two that I've pursued. But in the past, 6 months or so, I've been really trying to improve our cold email and cold texting campaigns, in conjunction with AI, that can make things go quicker, and that allows me to hand off more of the initial push, to get the property under contract, that initial underwriting and deal analysis, that kind of thing. I'm trying to push off as much as I can to my VAs, so I don't have to be as involved in that initial period where you're trying to get an understanding of the property. So I've been going through this process of creating a bunch of very unique prompts, AI prompts that I can use to do all sorts of things. Like, first, do the initial pass at underwriting for the property. It's a prompt. You throw in the OM, and it'll take everything out. It'll analyze it and kind of give you an idea of what you need. And then I have prompts for LOIs, letter of intent. So my VA, they literally, all they have to do is just I tell them what I feel like I want to offer the property once I see the initial underwriting, and they can put together the LOI just using a prompt, which is really good. And it's in a way that it is, or it produces a mini website, which I'm trying to do more of, because they come off very professional, and it's just better than a PDF. I don't know why. I don't like PDFs. So yeah, there's a number of prompts and AI tools that I'm trying to implement in our acquisitions process to so I can use my VAs more reliably, and they are more empowered to get deals under contract. Um, so yeah, it has been going well, and if you guys want to learn more about that, definitely jump into the school community. We're going really deep into that, and I really want to help 10 people get their first commercial deal under contract this year. So if you guys want to be part of that, go ahead and jump into the community. It looks like we have lost Charlie. I don't think he's going to be able to come back. I guess London was too far away from Seattle for today. So we're going to cut it at that point. I appreciate you guys joining. I'm sorry this podcast went a little bit short. It was just me talking most of the time, and I apologize for that. But hey, you don't get to hear a lot from me all the time. It's usually about the guests. So I guess there's a silver lining there. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you want to support the show, just leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.